Good afternoon, friends. I'm doing a quick update via Facebook Live on what is going on with NPR, National Public Radio. Those of you who are uh, coming into this for the first time, I know some of my friends are following what is happening with the Hindu community and NPR. Um, but I also know that there are some of my friends who um, are probably going to see and hear about this for the first time. So um I want to give some updates on what is going on with NPR and starting with the very latest. So about 2 weeks ago, NPR provoked a petition and several criticisms from the Hindu community around the world when its producer in India tweeted that something very offensive and also something not very surprising considering how biased NPR's coverage of Hinduism has been. So this NPR journalist in India tweeted that Hindus should just convert out of Hinduism because it's a cow dung and cow urine worshipping religion. And later, NPR said she has resigned. But unfortunately, this journalist's stories are still up there on NPR without even a note acknowledging that her objectivity may have been compromised. So, my friend Indumathi Viswanathan has started a petition which has crossed 6,000 signatures, and she has also just published a very, very insightful analysis of comments on that public petition. I'll share that in a moment. But first, I want to talk about the latest. So, I just looked at NPR's archives today to see if there's any improvement since the last week or two. And again, did my search of Hindu, and this story came up. This interview, I believe, with an affiliate, by an affiliate of Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi, as you know, is back with a bang. And of course, none of us are surprised by that. She's a truth teller, and the time for truth telling is catching on. So she's back in the debates. So NPR did this interview. This is on their website, and I just read through the transcript. And, I was really amazed. Let me see if I can scroll through this. And hopefully the scrolling will come through on Facebook Live. So right at the beginning, this interviewer says, when asked about her parents who are tied to Chris Butler, a cult leader, etc., and you know, Tulsi naturally says it's offensive. I mean, she's been the target of this weird smear campaign, which most intelligent Hindus who are following what's going on know is Hinduphobic. They're attacking her for everything she stands for, including Hinduism, and a very progressive kind of Hinduism that is inspiring. I mean, it's not the usual Indian Hinduism. It's transnational, it's global, it's environmental, it's anti-war. I mean, anyway, before I get into too much praise, I want to first sort out the professional criticism over here as a media observer. So just look at this interview, the usual stuff about Syria and everything. And let me just go down again. Okay, so here's this question. You know, is it inappropriate? I mean, it's so weird. Okay, so here is a question which says, you grew up in a home which shrines to a man considered a cult leader. You know what? That is so offensive to anybody in America today. You know, whose pictures I have in my home, in my shrine, is not your business. Okay? If it is Sri Satya Sai Baba's picture, or Sri Ravi Shankar's picture, or Amma's picture, or Ramana Maharshi's picture, or any of the Sikh gurus' pictures, or Yogananda's picture, or Gandhi's picture, it's not your business, NPR, to ask somebody, if you are weird because, you have pictures of a quote-unquote cult leader, especially when Tulsi Gabbard's record, her intelligence is out there for all of us to see. And here she is again saying, I follow Hinduism, Vaishnava Hinduism. Okay? And you're just repeating the smear campaign trying to demonize Hinduism. And again, you see this three questions trying to target her father. And again, it comes back to religious practices. So, this is the state of Hinduphobia in NPR, or an affiliate of NPR, WBUR, by somebody called Robin Young. And I'm going to be sharing this on YouTube shortly. And I want the Hindu community and allies of the Hindu community in America to please write to the public editor at NPR. This is disgraceful. Okay. 2 weeks after their bigoted correspondent tweets anti-Hindu hate, and they don't even put a note about her work, which is still hosted on the platform. Okay. 2 weeks after the Times of India does a huge story on this issue, and 2 days after Tulsi Gabbard is reluctantly welcomed back into the debate by the Democratic Party, which was trying to shut her out by using dummy surveys, which I discussed in my media research methods class, by the way. You have NPR asking these bizarre questions about how her dad had cult figure photos in her house. I mean, seriously, this is like a disgrace to everything we associated of NPR and American journalism all these years. You guys are more bigoted today than the orange man you all love to hate. Okay, and I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just saying what you're doing is even worse, and I hope you guys realize that. And anyway, so I will add these links on Medium and Facebook and Twitter later so you can read this. So NPR has not changed one bit. And I quickly want to give you the context. This is my article, which I wrote a few days ago, following the horrible stuff that happened, in India. And this is a content analysis of pretty much all the articles that come up with the search word Hindu in NPR from January 1st till around September 15th. And all the tables are there. And I would like you to take a look so you can clearly see that under the pretext of talking about quote unquote Hindu nationalism in India and the elections and Modi and everything, NPR was doing bizarre stuff the last several months, including claiming that Hindu nationalism was a reaction to Portuguese colonialism in the 19th century. This article by Lauren Freya, which is so weird. I mean, is she normalizing, colonialism here? When she says, I don't know, I don't even understand. That just shows how self-contradictory they are. Another infamous article I've written about before by Lauren Freya, where she talks about India changing the names of some cities and Muslims fear their heritage is being erased. You know what this article doesn't mention at all? That this was the name of a city being changed back to its older name. Several Indian cities which had Sanskrit or local language indigenous names were forcibly renamed when they were conquered by the Mughals and other imperial forces in medieval times. And in a few places where there are Hindu sacred sites, yes, Hindus have democratically elected people who would like to decolonize. The same way many people in America today want to take away the Confederate flag. There are Hindus in India who want to take away the humiliating imperialist names. And NPR, of course, doesn't say that. It just says, it pretends there was nobody in India till Akbar and the Mughals came. So anyway, several examples of this, where you can see that the latest attack on Tulsi is the tip of NPR's systemic Hinduphobic coverage. And the last example I want to give you, this is very important. This article has just been posted on Medium, and it says we are only human. And I'll share the link, but basically what this is a very careful analysis of comments on the public petition that Hindu Viswanathan started. urging NPR to talk with us, to take this seriously. Okay. And this is important because a lot of people in academia and in journalism are in denial about this. Okay. So they think that anybody who's calling out Hinduphobia is quote unquote a Hindu nationalist, or somebody who's just touchy and can't take, valid criticism. That's not the case. As Indumathi shows in this analysis, by the way, that's the original tweet Furqan Khan wrote. Um, Indumathi goes through and classifies the kind of comments that some of the 6,000 people who signed her petition have written. And overwhelmingly, you see that the Hindu community is fighting Hinduphobia in a very objective manner by calling out bias. Okay. So it's hardly like 1% of the comments are Islamophobic, hardly 0.5% actually invoke Hindutva in any way. So you can see that, this whole academic excuse that anybody who's criticizing Hinduphobia is just excusing Hindu nationalism, that's a cop out. Here are the facts. I'll share the link to this also. Uh, this is what is going on. So again, just to update, NPR is at it again by doing this awful smear piece on Tulsi Gabbard, where they keep talking about how she grew up with with pictures of cult leaders in her house. So I'm going to share this and also write something on Medium shortly. So please keep the conversation going on your social media and with your friends. My friend Professor Ramesh Rao has urged everyone to write to the public editor of National Public Radio, who continues to have 10 years, as he put it. So this new Tulsi Gabbard piece and the continuing systemic denial in NPR about their Hinduphobia problem, we need to speak up more and more. Let's continue to be professional and civil, and break this hateful and mendacious paradigm now. Thank you.